Do men truly not know how to communicate, or is it a choice?
These are some tough ass questions.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're good, hope you're well. So this is part 2 of Keith answering the questions that you asked him to answer on behalf of men. There were so many questions. I was so surprised with how many questions you guys sent, so thank you. And yeah, without further ado, we're going to get into Keith's answers. As a black man, in your honest opinion, do you think that black men take care of black women and the black community adequately?
This is a Derek Jackson moment right here, isn't it? For me, I would say yes, and that's just because the way I've been raised is like my mum is black, my aunties are obviously black, my majority of my family are are black. My wife is black. My wife's friends are not all of them, obviously, but some of them are black. And they also happen to be women. So yes, I would say that the guys I know in my life are very intentional about protecting black women. To answer the question, but also further than that, women too. But I don't wanna all lives matter the conversation. So yes, we do speak about protecting black women, and we are quite intentional about it. But in general, sadly to say, no. And that might come as a surprise to some of you, just because, like me, your whole entire sphere is filled with you seeing black people champion each other, men championing women, women championing men, and men looking after the women. But statistically, when you look at stuff like when black men, quote unquote, make it, they move on to white counterparts or other things and stuff like that. Not other things as women, but other races. That's what the statistics say. So, and unfortunately, we see content that say black women are ugly, and it's just like, why is that? Where does that all come from? And why do we think that's a fun or humorous thing to say or do?
Why is it so hard for you guys to open up? Does vulnerability exist in male circles?
Yes, I know so many guys that have seen me cry, that isn't to do with sports, because my favorite team lost, or even like a loved one that's passed, because those are like some things that are quite shocking. Like, I've cried to my friends about how lockdown and how all of the Black Lives Matter and the world waking up to racial injustice, and how that felt to me. So yeah, like there are men out there that do talk about how they feel and are vulnerable with each other, and I think we should champion more of that.
Do you think that having Christian values makes marriage easier from a male perspective?
Yeah.
I ask this because so many people I know are getting divorced.
Christian values, yes, makes marriage easier. Whether the parties involved in the marriage want to uphold the Christian values is another question, because it's very easy to be like, oh, I'll wait and not have sex and then get into marriage and everything would be wonderful. But what happens when you're called to be humble and called not to say anything, or called to choose your battles? Are you gonna stand up for what you want, or are you gonna stand up for your marriage?
Should the female let the guy know she's interested in getting to know him, or should the guy come forward? Basically, he just finished a job and he started to approach me more on the last day of shooting, but wasn't able to get in contact. Should I follow him on Instagram or just leave it?
Firstly, I'm probably sure you're well intentioned, and I'm not sure where you're from, so culturally it might be different, but you should avoid using female in the same sentence as guy when comparing the two. Girls, guys, man, woman. Yeah, if you refer to female, then say male, just because you don't want to dehumanize women. Then yeah, follow him on Instagram. I think I know there's a whole thing about like you don't want to pursue a guy, but you can make yourself available. If you know you're not going to see him anytime soon, just give him a follow. You don't have to send him a DM, or you might do and just be like, hey, it was cool working with you over the shoot or whatever. But yeah, make yourself available, and then I'm sure it sounds like you guys hit it off. He'll do the rest.
Follow up, I suppose. Seeing as in our patriarchal society, leading is seen as a more masculine trait, if black women are doing all the heavy lifting, does that affect the way you view our femininity?
I'll answer like this. I come from a family where it's predominantly women. Um, and I have never questioned I've never questioned how feminine they are. I've never looked at them and said you're not feminine. Um, yeah, so I think women should lead in some aspects. It might maybe not in terms of like pursuing somebody in a relationship, but also that's you can do that as well. But in reality, there are guys who are idiots and there are girls who are smart. Likewise, where there are guys who are smart and girls who are idiots. And I think that as men, we have to be able to understand that, hey, if I'm not really good with finances, but my wife or my partner is fantastic with it and she's budgeted and she knows how to do this stuff, it doesn't mean that you don't have a say, but the wise choice there is to give it to the person who's better suited. And then you both collaborate together.
At what age did you put away childish things, brackets, dem hoes, and want to settle down?
I never had any hoes. I was holeless. Yeah. I never had any hoes. So I'm not sure that really applies to me. And but in terms of settling down, I think when I decided that Adella and I can do more together, married, than we can do just as two single people in a relationship, that's when I was like, cool, I need to settle down. And do more doesn't mean sex, by the way.
Do men get married to the woman they're in love with, or do they just settle for the lady that is there by the time that they're ready to get married?
That's damn. Unfortunately, yes. I can imagine there are men who do that. But I also know men who have not done that and not planning to do so. Yeah, so it shouldn't be the case. Nobody should really settle for what they don't want. But then I think the wider question there is, why are we putting marriage on a pedestal?
Do men truly not know how to communicate, or is it a choice?
No, we know how to communicate. We communicate different. I would say, arguably, with my wife sitting to my right, I communicate like a woman in some places, and she communicates like a man in some places, where she doesn't want to have conversations and I want to have conversations. And there are some places where I don't want to have conversations and she does. I think we have to look at where are the areas that we don't really want to, and we also have to understand the way that our partners communicate. We have to also express how we communicate and come to a compromise. And if some people need more time to make decisions, you have to allot time or allow for that time to be made and have conversations. If some people want decisions to be made now, then you have to allow for that too. It's all about communication. Yeah.
Are you comfortable with your wife having a male friend? Why or why not?
Yeah, I'm comfortable with that. Why am I comfortable with that? Because I trust my wife. I also know that from what I've seen is that she makes wise decisions. So I don't think that having a male friend is unwise, knowing that my wife is a wise person.
Are men able to wait till marriage for sex?
Yes, I did, and I know others that did too.
Do you feel pressured to be at a certain place in life at a certain age? For example, to be a homeowner by the time you're X, or have children by the time you're X, and so
on? Yes, I remember when I was growing up, I was saying, yeah, I'm going to be married by 21, I'm going to do this by whatever. So yes, but not pressure in terms of society. It's more of the pressure I put on myself because of the plans and direction I want to take my family in. Um, like for example, I can drive. I don't own a car because there's no need to. Yet my brother has been driving like for 3 years longer than me and has had a car. He's had a car since he's been able to drive. Um, but I never look at him and say, "Oh, I need to buy a car," because it doesn't make sense for me. There are people that I know who have children, um, older than me, a bit younger than me, same age, and again, I don't look at them and say, "Oh, I need to have a child because they're having a child." I think we need to get comfortable with making our own plans for the people in our lives, with the people in our own lives, and committing to those and brushing out the unnecessary noise.
Should men cheating be normalized?
No way, Jose.
Do you think that you were expected to have a different level of maturity in school growing up compared to the girls, and how do you think that affected your earlier perception of women and girls?
In school, I never noticed. And the reason I never noticed is because I was raised, well, obviously my parents are together, thank God. But like the majority of my family are women. So like a lot of the things I was raised with have been instilled by women. So the level of maturity for me, if I guess that has been put on women in terms of women need to seem more mature, and as women mature faster, so they need to be more responsible than guys, and lads will be lads. There was none of that for me. So and there are other guys out there like that too, but it's unfortunate that that's what's put on women.
Would you care if your female partner decided not to conform in social constructs and beauty standards, such as going makeup free, not shaving any part of their body hair, no nail polish, etc.? Basically, just living the way most men do without altering their appearance.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind at all. In fact, I tell Adella like I don't care. Like if you decide to like put makeup on and stuff like that, and you look great, then yeah, you look great. If you decide to not shave your legs, you look great. And like a conversation, Adela always says to me, "Oh, Keith, I need to shave my legs," and then I'm looking at her legs, and I'm like, "Shave what?" And I look at my legs, and I look like Wolverine. So yeah, it shouldn't matter. So.
Do you believe guys and girls can just be friends?
Yes, they can, but I think there is just unspoken, or maybe some people speak about it like boundaries, especially when there's like one person might be in a relationship and stuff. But yeah, guys and girls can be friends. It doesn't always have to be about getting something from the other person.
Do women pressure men to commit?
No. And the reason I say no is because I don't think it's so much commit. I think it's more to be intentional. But we just use the word commit. And I think that if guys want to claim men are the leaders and things like that, and then with that means that as a leader you need to be intentional. And intentionality is something that people who are quote unquote your followers or people that you're leading need. So I don't think it's commitment. I think it's more a lack of intentionality that guys have.
Do guys feel anything after a breakup, especially if they broke up with the girl?
Yeah. Yeah, especially if you get to know the person. There might be a myriad of reasons why the guy has left, but if it's one where, for example, you're just at different stages in life, and though you really want it to work, it's one of you might be moving away and whatever. Yeah, you spend however long getting to know the person, and for that person now not to be there the next day, it's weird. So yeah.
Would you date a woman with kids?
Yeah, I think at this stage in my life, if I wasn't married to Adella, I'd be open to it. I don't think I would have been if I was younger because of the stage of life I was in. But now, as I grow older, and I understand a bit more about responsibility, and I have more responsibility in my hands, Yeah, I would have if I was single.
How do you feel lately about affection, emotional and material affection, because of simp culture lately?
Oh, simp is what we used to call wimp, the whipped, right?
Oh, yeah, I think so.
So I think it's excuse if you can hear the baby crying in the background. It's our neighbours. I think that it's crazy that like what should be normal in terms of showing affection to the person that you like is, and I mean at a normal level in terms of like it doesn't turn into like a weird type of I'm agreeing with everything that you say, but in terms of just showing affection, I think it's bad that we've got to a point where that is ostracized, and yeah, it's shaping the men of the future, unfortunately, in that way.
Are there times where you become more aware of your power and the expectations on you as a man from society's perspective within your relationship or in general?
I think as I've got older, um, I have realized, yes, the power I have as a man, um, and it's not like a moment where I'm like, oh my gosh, like I like society is tipped in my favor and things like that. But there are definitely things that I've noticed where it's like, well, that's not why are we being treated differently in this sense. So yeah, I definitely have. And then in terms of responsibility as a man by society pressure and stuff like that, yeah, I've noticed that too. But I guess to quote Peter Parker's uncle, with great power comes with great responsibility. So I think it's just our responsibility as men to know the things that have been given to us, whether justly or unjustly, and recognize how can we basically help the people beside us.
What certain actions or words do you find highly disrespectful to you coming from a woman or just anyone?
Uh, um, listen, I have no problem with people sharing their opinion. Sorry, I have no problem with women sharing their opinion however they want to share it, and things like that, whether they're loud, whether they're quiet, whether they're boisterous with the way that they like physically interact with me and things like that. I think it all comes down to the intent, and this is where conversation needs to happen. For example, my wife, though she might seem quite quiet sometimes, has a moments where she's all of that stuff, and that is her personality. It doesn't make me look at her differently, but I know when it's more of a like light, fun-hearted da 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 da, and when she might intentionally be trying not to hear what I'm saying. So for me, it's like making sure that we understand each other, and anything that comes from that in terms of, hey, I want you to act this way, hey, you can do whatever you want, and even that she says that to me, it comes through conversation. So yeah.
And that is a wrap. Go easy on him, yeah? Guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. I hope you enjoyed Keith answering those questions. Thanks for taking the time to answer them. All right, guys, let us know, as always, what you think of Keith's answers down below. Do you want to reply to some of them?
Yeah, I might. Yeah. I'll hop in the comments.
He'll hop in the comments when it goes live, and he will reply to some of them. But yeah, hope you enjoyed that, guys, and see you in the next one. Bye. Oh, you have to do it.